There you go.
Perfect. Just want to welcome everyone to the Corporation of the Township of Ballinger Valley. Today's committee meeting is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Time is 1:30 p.m. We're meeting in the council chambers and via Zoom at some point. Is there any additions to the agenda? Councillor Saunderson?
Just remind people about March break maps. I think you might be bringing it up.
It's in my report, but absolutely, Tracy, if you want to speak to it when I get there.
Yep.
Please do.
Councillor Buckwald? I'll add number 8.4, so that'll be the dog pound, just because we have a resolution this evening, just for discussion. Mayor Murphy?
That's what I was gonna add, thank you.
Perfect. Councillor Epps, do you have anything, any additions?
No.
Could I have a confirmation agenda, please? Mayor Murphy, all those in favor? Perfect. Is there any pecuniary interest of the general nature thereof? Seeing none, perfect. Was there any errors or omissions with the previous minutes? Seeing none, could I have confirmation of the minutes, please? Councillor Buckwald, all those in favor? Perfect, thank you very much. And we do have two delegations today. We have one that is at 1:30 p.m. Is the Affordable Housing Alliance presentation. And then we have one at 1:50 p.m. With Mr. Shizen to request to reject the bylaw restricting heavy trucks and request change to load restriction signs. So we'll welcome Ish and Cameron up to the front for your 20-minute presentation on Affordable Housing Alliance.
Mayor and council. And that, very nice to do all the houses. And I don't feel like we're strangers to you, since I believe that every one of you was at our meeting in October. So I don't think our alliance needs too much introduction. I will give you a very brief one. We're an informal, non-incorporated organization, basically a coalition of people from across the county, different parts of the county, city of Pembroke. You've seen on our letterhead the outstanding people who were involved, people like Brian Abdallah, deputy mayor of Pembroke, Nadir Almani, Eganville, Hannah Gutowski, and Suzanne Platt from MV Township, and Barbara Kraft Kuyak from MV, a couple of now recently elected KHR counselors, Maureen McMillan and Bill Smith, my colleague Cameron, Maria Robinson, not counselor. So we have a broad cross section of people from a variety of perspectives, but we all agree on one thing, that there is a crisis and it's affecting everybody in our area. It's affecting everybody in Canada. Really, it's not just the people we typically think of as homeless. It's all kinds of folks who suddenly find themselves unable to find homes for a variety of reasons that we've all talked about. And I don't need a lot more. I won't make a lot more introduction. But I just want to tell you what's occurred since we were all together in October at the Eagle's Nest, which is that our alliance has organized local citizens committees in about approximately 5, maybe 6 municipalities in the area. And we've been in touch with a number of municipal councils, City of Pembroke, KHR. We're here today with you. We're going to be meeting with KHR again this afternoon. Cameron, bless her heart, has identified a wonderful project that I think we can all work together on, and that's what we really are hoping folks will be doing, is our municipalities and our municipal committees will be working in concert to develop an application, which Cameron will tell you a whole lot more about. I'll turn it over to you.
All right, so,
And then there's the home sharing stuff.
right, yeah, so, maybe I'll start with the home sharing. Well, I'll just start with, I guess, NAW Council, has implemented the Sparrow program, which has been in the paper and that kind of thing. which we talked about a little bit earlier, but essentially it's a way to pair people in the community with housing, because building housing is obviously expensive and takes a long time. Zoning amendments take a long time. So Sparrow is a way to alleviate the crunch right now for people. And so there are existing homeowners who have extra rooms. They don't want to be in the business of becoming a landlord, but they wouldn't mind coming up with a mutually beneficial arrangement where someone could help them with, say, home care, or help them with management of their land. Like, we've had calls from seniors who want to stay at home longer, and having a young family live in an accessory dwelling on their property is perfect. And a good arrangement for all parties. Of course, not engaging in RTA, not engaging in the Landlord and Tenant Act exposes you to risk, and maybe they don't know about doing background checks on people and all that kind of stuff. So this program allows people to engage in a contract. They custom build a contract. This is a CMHC funded project. Sparrow got $500,000 to set this up. So why not avail ourselves of it? Essentially, they interview both parties, and then they match people who are like a cultural, financial match. And it's a short-term arrangement. So say they do it for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, up to 6 months. And it's a way to just test it out and see if it works for everyone. And if it does, then, they could go further and, go through the kind of landlord and tenant type of things. But it's just a way for people who are not in the business of that to open their homes and try something different and like live together. So one of the inspirations, NAW did an affordable housing survey of the community and identified different needs. 67.7% of our seniors have said that they are scared. They can't stay in their home, and there's nowhere to go. They're on lists that are too long, and they're just basically in a desperate situation. And they are going to have to, like, with the cost of inflation, with prices of everything going up, they're on a fixed income. They will be renting out their homes, but they're going to be engaged in something that's unsafe. So why not just right off the bat set up a program that is vetted by CMHC to proceed? So that's one kind of quick solution. Obviously, that's a short-term solution. The longer-term solution that we're working on all together with the Alliance is that the CMHC has an innovation grant. So we are looking at building a rural specific, because we've noticed that a lot of these solutions, a lot of the grants are geared towards large cities. Like, we are not going to be building a 10-story building. That's just not in the cards. We need a solution that suits our community. And so we are going to apply for a rural innovation pilot with all the participating municipalities. And I think we'd like to leave here with your support to join in with a letter of support and a list of what you would like to see out of it. So we'd like to hire a coordinator who is a specialist in housing, who can work with developers, with council, with members of the community, with anyone who's interested in developing a project, to see the project through from beginning to end and just help them through that process. Because we've found, like, developers are interested, so we had a meeting in Pembroke last night where there's developers who are interested, but they don't know like what percentage of what unit they can get funding for, and what's the legal ramifications. They just don't know, and they would engage in it, but it's just easier not to. So having this project coordinator, there's someone who can actually walk people through the process.
In all the participating
Everywhere.
in
Exactly.
municipalities, because each municipality will have different issues and situations and solutions.
That's it. Yeah. So
If I may.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear you say that, Cameron, because when I read some of the documentation that it was Sparrow and Rippleton and Wilberforce, the last thing we need in the county of Renfrew is to build silos around ourselves. We have cross borders all over the place, and we have to be working as a team in this. And with anything provincial or federal, they love it when we partner with other municipalities.
Yeah.
The other point I will make is that we really need to get ourselves away from the word affordable. The term is attainable. The problem with the word affordable is that it sort of denotes Renfrew County housing, which is not the road we're going down. And something that Cameron might be able to afford, maybe I can't afford. So I think it's attainable housing. It's matching your income to something that is attainable for you without burying you in debt or making the choice between heating and food. The other thing that I think is so amazing is you talked about an auxiliary building. Up until last year, we didn't allow a secondary dwelling on lands in Bonashir Valley, and now we do. And with Bill 23, as of right, you are now allowed on service properties to have 3 dwellings, which is not going to go over well. But at this point, if that means teeny tiny homes in people's backyards, and that solves some of these problems, then that's the road that people are going to go down. So what you're saying is, with this vetting process, I'm a senior, I want to stay in my home, but I can't shovel my snow.
Yeah.
Or clear off my roof, or fix a plumbing leak that maybe, a family living in an auxiliary building, maybe somebody's got that skill set. So you're hitting all the right marks for me. I was worried, just seeing the North Algonah Wilberforce and Sparrow, and where do we fit into this? Because I don't want each municipality going off in their own direction. If we're going to do this, let's do it as countywide as we can make it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now actually Sparrow has, like I've had calls from Leeds and Grenville, Gananoque, like all different municipalities who've read about this and are now coming on board. So it's everywhere. Like Sparrow's going to be, but it's a federally funded, CMHC funded program that's a pilot. So why not use it while it's in its pilot stage? So so it's for anybody for sure. But it's just one project, because the thing is, in a rural community, we know we have to be creative. Like there's not one solution that's going to suit everyone. And we're always working with, a little bit less, and we're really good at making do. So I know that this May 1st project is going to be, it's going to be a little bit of everything, right? We're going to have different solutions for different communities and different people. So just to give an example of that, in Naw, there's no public services. So whatever project we end up working on, it has to be like a pocket community, like an independent village that it has a rainwater catchment system, and it's going to have to be a different kind of solution than a community like KHR that has service lots that are ready to go. And so I want the program coordinator to be able to work with people at their level and like what they have available, and just find opportunities within the community. And I'm hoping that every community will have one municipal project, that at least one, like just make a goal of one, whether that's the municipality just working with the developer and the developer does the legwork, or the municipality does the legwork, just depending on the situation. Like in Pembroke, it's likely going to be a large nonprofit like St. Joseph's that's going to do the legwork, because that organization's there already. North Algonah has no such housing co-ops or nonprofits to work with. So what's going to work for North Algonah is going to be different than what's going to work for Pembroke. And for you guys, the idea of the local committee is that the local committee gives recommendations on the needs in the community. But one of the things I'd like the project coordinator to do, like within the grant, is to conduct a survey of needs, because we can assume things, but until we have the data, we don't really know. Also, CMHC really likes data.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that with the grant. And when you're talking about it, it's really important to be able to support what you're saying with data. So essentially what we're asking for, I guess, at this stage is that you just agree to be a partner on the grant, this collective grant with the other municipalities. And then if you have anything specific that you want to put forward to say, like, we would really like this, or we require this to be in the grant application, this is a need that we have identified, then you have to let us know by May 1st so that we can include it in the proposal.
So we have a couple of very unique things here. Number one, we have Fairfields,
Right.
and an expansion of Fairfields would be, I can't think of a better way when they have all the facilities there and the land. And the other thing is, it just occurred to me that Bill 23 won't even affect North Algonah Wilberforce, because you don't have service lots. So are there lots in our municipality that are serviced at this time that could be used for a teeny tiny village or a affordable housing village? Sorry, my brain's going a million miles an hour. I don't think that I really absorbed this information as well as I should have. Because you're telling me something that's sort of a bit different than, and I dig it.
Well, every community is it's gonna have its own perspective on it.
Right.
Like, so what's something we're doing in NAW, just because we're working with what we've got, is identifying, like, say there's a 100-acre farm. And the people who are living there are in their 50s and they're still very able-bodied and able to take care of everything. And their kids live in an urban area, but they plan that their children will return home and take over the farm, and they'll move into an accessory dwelling that's wheelchair accessible and, just a little more comfortable. So there is a CMHC program that you can build the accessory dwelling, and you have to offer it as a rental for 20 years. So if you're in your 50s now, you can build it and plan that when you're in your 70s, then you just take over ownership. If you allow it to be affordable housing for 20 years and sign an agreement with the provincial government, then that might be a really good option for someone who wants that accessory dwelling and can't afford it. Or, has this plan to do the accessory dwelling, but they don't know about permits and zoning and everything. It's just a hassle and they keep putting it off and putting it off. So the project coordinator can work with them to just get through the process of making that happen. So that's something that's like an easy one for North Algona, because it doesn't cost the municipality anything. It's our local committee is all people who know everyone in the community, and they're going and asking their neighbors, hey, would you be interested in this? Would you be interested in this? So they're doing the legwork, and the coordinator for the rural pilot is going to help them through the process. So all we're doing as a municipality is just providing the support to say we believe in affordable housing and provide that financial, not money, but the financial strength of an HR process that a municipality has, which is also what you guys can offer as well.
When you said 50s, Tracy and I both went, oh. We're not old. Then you qualified it.
The kids coming home part.
Yeah.
But people need to plan when they're young,
Right.
people need to plan when they're able-bodied, because when you need to get a knee surgery or whatever, like, that's when you are like, oh, I wish I'd done this 20 years ago or
Yeah.
whatever. So
At what stage will you be in surveying, creating a survey? Because that would be nice to have up front, because the need, as you said, the needs here probably very different from now.
Yeah.
And just thinking of aging demographics, right? So what the boomers now are seniors, so there's probably going to be a greater need for this type of accommodation, for shared housing.
Yeah. It's hard to say, like, I don't know when they're gonna get back to us by, but maybe in the fall. So the application goes in May.
And
But-
they'll provide the needs survey template that we would use.
So I developed a template, like, I'm a professional researcher, so I've developed a template for now that you could have right now if you wanted to do it yourself.
Worthwhile
Could
sending
we
that
throw
out.
that in the tax bill?
Too late. Oh, at the end of the year, in August, be good, yeah.
Put
Sorry.
it on social, no?
We have a QR code and everything, so it's really easy.
I'm just thinking that some of the people that might really want to fill it out might want to do it by pen and paper.
True. Need to have both.
We could send it out with our the next newsletter.
Yeah,
I know
that's-
We just sent that one out too, but we could send it out with the next
Yeah.
newsletter, or we could send it out for tax bills in August. August is not terrible.
No, but it should go out. I think it would be a really useful tool. I mean, when I think about it, that we've had able-bodied, quite young people in it. Well, you heard the thing in October, right? All of a sudden, she's homeless.
Yeah.
She's got a great job. That should never be.
It's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I'm telling you, we were back and forth for weeks trying to find her a place to live. It's disgraceful. So I applaud this. But I just want to make sure that we're working
Yeah.
as many, even if you're just doing the 60 corridor to start. We got to start somewhere, but I don't want to start being, oh, it's Bonashir Valley. It's not, it's H&R.
No, this is just a rural innovation pilot for the whole region, like anyone who's facing any kind of barriers because of being in a rural area, essentially.
One of the things that I think we should mention around the pilot is that as well as needing endorsements, we also need budgets. They're not, CMHC is going to look much more favorably at an application which has actually substantial pledges of land, money, in-kind support like construction, engineering, administration, all those kinds of things. And I think you all got by email this package, the package that we prepared for local committees. It lays out the process. It also includes a number of kinds of form letters that you could that could be used for soliciting support from businesses, churches, individual donors, et cetera. And all that is needed by May 1st as well, so. Cameron set a goal of $1 million worth of pledges among our numerous municipalities. It shouldn't be that hard to raise, but that.
Especially with land. Like especially.
This land is very expensive right now.
Yeah, and we already have, I mean, we already have that in private. Like private individuals and businesses who need housing for staff. You know, we have all these people who, like, there's a lot of starting wage jobs, but there's no starting wage houses. There's no starting wage rentals, like there's no rentals at all, so. Employers need this as well.
Well, I think that we can pledge the letter. I think that the money or land, that's a discussion for another day after we see what kind of resources we have in BV.
Of course, we
Sounds
hope we
good.
can get a strong committee going in Montreal Valley as well. They can get out there and do the work.
I love it. It's great.
All right, we'll just send this, so then we'll talk about it again and just next time, and then you'll send us the link, obviously.
With the grant
You
application.
know, for like the vote, like
Survey?
the survey and all that.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Just send us that information. And then-
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Tim Sism, you're up. No, I didn't. Fine.
Don't throw it away.
Hello, everyone. Kind of good to be back here. Sitting at,
Weird having you down there.
yeah, it feels different sitting at this end. My name is Tim Shizen. I'm the owner of Tim Shizen and Son Trucking. And I'm here today to give some information and hopefully just a little bit of education. After the February 7th meeting, I was in contact with many other owners of logging trucks in the area, such as Laverne Heidemann and Sons. And they've got a couple trucks. Keith Miller from Miller Brothers. Weldon Lehman has 2 tractor trailers as well. Herb Shaw and Sons. They've got approximately 5 log trucks that go up and down, and they're all current owners or ratepayers and either live here in Bonnechere Valley or have a business here in Bonnechere Valley. So I just want to keep it to, you know, those individuals right for now. About myself, I've been trucking for 23 years, and I've had my own business for 20. And I've got approximately 2 million kilometers logged and a very clean and spotless commercial vehicle operation registration. So I have a knock on wood, clean record for the time being. So we like to keep it that way. I'm a 4th generation logger and a 2nd generation truck driver. So my dad had drove a log truck before for Laverne Heidemann and Sons before, and other throughout the county, but that's a little bit about myself. So yeah. So what I'd like to address is the forest industry and Bonnechere Valley roads. So as we know, without the forestry, there would be probably no Bonnechere Valley. And 90%, I would say, or better, of our roads around here were either utilized or put in for the reason of either harvesting timber or accessing certain parts of it. So That was, for the most part, the initial cause, and actually the Spring Creek Road, one of the subjects that has come up. My great uncle, Johnny, had actually bulldozed and built that road across from Orange Corners with August Quad's bulldozer back in the late 40s and 50s,
Really?
right? So it kind of ties back a few generations. So the dimensions of the trucks have changed over the years, right? But the initial reason for them being there, it's the same. So like what I would like to ask is that we look forward to building our standards up to suit the new modern way of doing things. So I can give you some examples now of the contributions of my end, and we can kind of look at the amount of truck traffic that is in the municipality and kind of use it as an example. So right now, in the commercial vehicles, we still have to pay for a license sticker. And I still have to pay that. It works out to roughly $400 a month or $4,800 a year. That's for the one truck. So that's my share of tax that goes on to, on the front of the truck right away. And then last year alone, I burnt approximately $150,000 worth of fuel. So that translates to approximately 75,000 liters. And according to the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, that's approximately 50 some cents per liter of fuel is tax, and that equates to $40,000 from one truck. So when you have 5 and 2 and multiples, what I'm getting at is we're not asking for any special privileges, but we don't want to be treated any differently than any other vehicle on the road. So after 2006, all of the log trailers in Ontario have to be what's called SPIF compliant. So SPIF compliant is safe, productive, and infrastructure friendly. That's what it stands for. And I think I went over this before with the council. We've had other, I'm not going to say complaints, but issues in the past with Melanie Street. I can remember one time it was brought up, they were considering maybe a no truck route there, and another time at O'Connor Road, because people get a little worried about, when they see big trucks and stuff coming along. And I just wanted to explain how the pounds per square inch on the trucks that are out there are relatively all the same. So when you take a tandem dump truck, it's allowed X amount of pounds on the front axle, and then on its drives, which are the two right under the back, you're allowed so many pounds or kilograms there. And on my trailer, I'm allowed X amount there. But the actual front axle and tandem part of my truck will be identical to our gravel trucks and our dump trucks that are here running around the municipality. And my trailer is allowed more, but it's in effect not putting any more pressure on the ground because of the axle spacing and the amount of pounds per square inch per tire that's allowed. So just because we're a little bit bigger doesn't mean we're doing any more damage to anything or putting any more pressure on any of the roads, because there's only X amount of pounds allowed per square inch per axle per wheel. Excuse me, my mouth's very dry. I didn't grab my drink there, I'm sorry. So
We're specifically talking about Spring Creek right now, not Bruce Street.
we're not, no, I just want to keep that right
Yeah.
now.
No, I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. Thank
Yes,
you.
yeah, so sorry about that.
Yeah.
So with the Spring Creek Road episode or whatever, so, and that's why I'm kind of keeping it to the log trucks. with, because that's what was mentioned at the meeting. And that's where I wanted to kind of keep with this, as per, it kind of come across as the log trucks were more harmful than maybe others at the time. And that's where other people had taken it. Now, I don't know if that's what it was meant to do, but that's the way some had taken it, right? So that's what,
To your point, if I may, Tim.
Sure.
It was two different issues, I think,
absolutely,
right? It's, and I made a mistake too of saying you should see the traffic on my road. That's transport trucks as well. So the first challenge was transport trucks that don't know our area using GPS, getting up the hill and getting stuck, or in fact sliding backwards, which happened last week. The second thing was about the logging trucks, and they were sort of singled out where they shouldn't have been, especially one company. And, you know, I don't think that it was spoken to as correctly as it could have been, but there were two separate issues in that meeting and they weren't separated out properly, in my opinion.
I totally get that, and I'm gonna get to the Bruce Street, hopefully I'm not going too far into my time here.
Well, you want to talk about those signs as well, and
Absolutely,
that's got to get done.
yes, so anyway, where I'm going with that is, most people, when they see us coming down the road, they could be intimidated, or it could be, you know, like you said, here they come, right?
Yeah,
But effectively, we are within the realms of the Highway Traffic Act.
absolutely.
We have to follow the same regulations and we abide by all the rules as everyone else on the road. And actually, outside of the aviation industry, we're the most regulated type of driver other than the commercial airplane pilot, right? So we right now too, we also, and going into your Bruce Street deal, the E-log has come into effect, which effectively tracks with the GPS, all your start times, stop times, where you are, and you have only a certain amount of hours allocated each day to get your job done. And that's why you'll end up seeing stuff like Bruce Street happening, because your GPS is always going to try and take you on the shortest route, right? And that's where, you know, so if you can do 5 minutes here, sometimes that's a half an hour at the end of your day because of maybe getting behind a load, or it can translate into bigger time. So any chance most people get, they do try and take the shortest route. And effectively, it's not shortcuts. It's a matter of completing the day in the best amount of time to try and get as much done, right, and the productivity of it. So the Spring Creek, or not the Spring Creek, the Bruce Street matter. Now, what we do have to look at is the only time that it's an issue is when there's snow on the road.
Right.
And I've thought about this since the meeting. So if you put no truck route signs up, just no truck route signs, right? Most of the guys that are getting stuck on that hill in the wintertime are not from here.
Exactly.
And when you're driving in a snowstorm, when the roads are bad, the last thing you're looking for is a small, right, and maybe even a big, no truck route sign. You're paying attention to hopefully the road, but a lot of them, I'm sure, would not see that. So I do hope that we could get some signage, and I think it's coming forward.
It is.
But at the major intersections, that it may be not a suitable route. But let's not forget now, I've seen over the years up by McFarland's, tractor trailers jackknifing and getting stuck on our Highway 60 and not making it, right? And I've had to, at Patrick Street, where you come out around the bottom of the Catholic Church, I've had to back up there time again. And there's been times, you know, even at Melanie Street, because of the road conditions, that it's been a challenge to even get up. Now, I do have to take Melanie Street because, as I've told council before, I can't safely on a regular basis navigate it at the end of Queen Street to get to my house, right? So it's not a matter of the drivers per se, or if it's suitable for the truck. Most of the time it's road conditions. There's been times in Bonnechere Valley, up at, say Baptist Church Road, where I've been up there in the middle of winter. And I've had to take off at the bottom of what we call Caddis's Hill. So hopefully if new council goes up there, they'll be able to see what I'm talking about. It's very severe terrain and it's been done and it can be done. But the thing is, I'm familiar with the area and I know where these spots are. And I'm gonna say 99% of the people that have an issue on Bruce Street are not. And the second time, so I would love to see, like I say, a little bit of signage going forward for that to steer them in the right direction to keep them on Highway 60, but in no way, shape or form would I ever endorse shutting down routes, because there are times when we have to get into certain areas in certain locations. And I know local deliveries are always exempt, but it's a lot easier to keep out of that.
And we do have something coming forward this afternoon that we think will address the problem. But I think from our perspective, a lot of us said, even if they were just taken off the GPS routes, it would help. Like, forget about signage, as you say. Sometimes signs get lost.
So, not to interrupt Mayor Murphy, the problem is when you go to, say, Google,
I know,
like a lot of guys use, it's gonna take you there.
I know.
And there are certain programs out there specifically made for truckers, but not a whole pile of them use them.
But
right?
you have
This
to
is
get
what
each
they
of those
have.
companies as well. That's the problem. So out of interest, since our last meeting, I've had to go to county a few times.
Mhm.
So I used my own GPS in my truck one day. I used Waze another day and I used, sorry, not Waze. There's another one and I used Google.
Yes,
All three of them took me up Bruce Street. So it would be, you'd have to get to every single, so I think the Chevy, my truck is MyLink, I think. So you'd have to get to every one of those companies.
one thing I did notice with those routes, it actually, one of my GPS is mistaken it as 41.
Really?
It shoves you on the corner at Black Cemetery Road as you were to be taking it as 41. So for whatever reason
Weird.
that GPS had did that before, I've caught it a couple times, so it's technology, right?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
so no, and that's why I would love to see a big sign saying, you know, not suitable for, or this way to 41 or whatever. But it's this time of the year now that it's very crucial, right, for us to get the loads into the mills and to get keep somewhat of a
Before half loads come on.
before half loads come on, but work together with everybody, right? And if you notice, most of my truck in my busy time is always in the frozen months. That's when the least amount of impact is happening to the forest, right? The most effective logging can be done in winter months. And that's when the least amount of damage is happening to our infrastructure.
And in the wee hours of the morning where everything's still frozen solid.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm gonna get at with our load restriction signs.
I just wanna finish these two off. So
Yep.
I think that we have hopefully a partial solution for Bruce. And I think your suggestion of when we are rehabilitating Spring Creek, your suggestion is where possible to widen that road. Much like we've done with many other roads in Bonnechere Valley in the county, to make it more suitable and prevent break off of where the white line is, especially. those
Absolutely,
corners.
so going back to even our Fourth Chute Road, the reason why that we did the HCL steps in it was because of the truck traffic, the pedestrian traffic and the car traffic, right? And also with the Mennonites and everyone else.
And we got the grant for the active transportation. lanes.
Absolutely, and that's what happens when, you know, we do have the showing of being able to coincide, right? And work together. It actually helped us out for the grants, I think, at them times for to provide a better service, so it's actually better for Bonnechere Valley overall.
Hopefully it
And-
lasts longer.
Absolutely. I guarantee it will last longer. That was why we went that route, and hopefully Spring Creek will be addressed the same way.
Well,
Rather than-
and we'll be looking at the operations, like in Jason's report later on as well. Like we have those for council to discuss. as well. So just on your second request for the request to change the load restriction signs.
Okay, so,
Okay, now that I've seen them, I hope everybody
So-
looks, they are very confusing.
so anyway, so I don't know what happened. I wish Jason was here. But last, if I can give,
We have them, Terry.
oh, you have them?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one here, this is where our signs currently have sat since November. I don't know why they sat that way since November, and I kind of wish Jason was there. I don't know if you have that. So when you look at that, and I did contact our local MPO enforcement, I said, when you look at that regulatory sign, what does that say? What?
That tells me half loads.
That says right now that we've got 5 tons per axle
Yeah.
on that route. And that's what he agreed with me at, right? That is what that sign, but those signs were like that since November of last year. So it's one of those things where you don't notice it unless you're looking for it. So after last
Yep.
month's meeting, I got a lot of people asking me, are half loads on? And of course, they were not, and they're still not on right now, as a fact of right now. So my ask is, so the only other place I've seen this ever happen, was next door. One municipality over, I'm not gonna single anybody out, but I had seen it in one, but the rest of them, what they do to keep people from being confused is, I don't know if I had this in quick enough.
That one can go around.
No.
Jason does have a copy of those.
Okay, so this is what they effectively do. So our year-round signs, because years ago, what they used to do was just put the signs up when half loads were on. This was the type of sign you would see when load restrictions were active.
Yes. But the date should be at the bottom as well.
So this means, right, 5 tons per axle is on now. So what they did, so because it's staffing, right, we know what it's like to have the roads crew having to go out, do this, do that all the time, when they could be doing other things instead of playing with signs. But what the solution was to have, right?
Yes.
This right here, with the March 31st, do you have one of those? Tracy?
Yeah.
Okay,
it was in the-
so that's
So
what.
March 15th to,
So it was March 1st to May 31st.
right,
So what that always left Renfrew County area as was their kind of guideline of when our frost is. So when you go to southern Ontario or even next county down, theirs effectively starts earlier. You know, the end of February, a lot of the times, and they will come off earlier. And the more north you go, the further it's postponed. So it'll be March 31st to, well, major. We're the only place that 3 months is the guideline. Everyone else, the 100-mile radius is probably 2. So anyway, what the solution is, if weather permits, what they do is they take the bottom portion of that sign in all other and our county. Now, these are county signs. So this is what Renfrew County is actively doing, is taking that bottom sign and flipping it over that 5 ton. So now effectively that's nil and void. That 5 ton per axle now does not count. It's just basically a picture of a truck. Nobody cares. They used to go around with bags if it permitted. They put bags over the signs and guys work. So if it happens that we have, and I'm not endorsing it in any way, shape or form, but in the event that you have a truck showing up on a half load road later in the season when they had that sign there, it's confusing to many. And I've had people from outside the municipality that do deliver around here say, well, I can't go on that road because half loads are on. And no, they're not, because that is how it reads. So all my ask with the signs is to be consistent with the rest of the county. And that we take the bottom and flip it to cover that 5 ton up, so that the rest of the individuals that are out there trying to follow the rules are actually able to do so.
The signs look so small. And by the time you see
Well,
it.
the
it's
spring-
past-
I know, and
I was gonna say the Spring Creek one, I think that one is, the dates on the backside, is it on it?
That's right. So
it's down.
Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? So,
I see Jason is here now, but with permission of Mayor Murphy
Well,
to know when they were flipped over. I believe I was right in saying it was later fall of last year when that was done, right?
the 5-ton signs,
They've been like that since last March.
March. May.
they are very confusing, and it's funny, Tim said something when he first started this part of his delegation. That you don't even look if you're not looking for, you don't see them if you're not looking for them. And so after meeting with the Heidemans, and they said that the one on Spring Creek was like that, and I thought, wow, that's unusual. And then I slowed down at Silver Lake Road and it was exactly the same. And I thought that would be confusing to me if I was a truck driver of any kind, logging, transport, dump truck, what have you. Yeah, so yes, thank you. And I don't think that there's one of us that thinks that that's an unreasonable request, especially, I think you as a longtime hauler in Renfrew County, you basically know the rules. You can gauge, okay, the county's probably gonna put on half loads around March 15th, but people from outside of our area, much like driving on Bruce Street, don't get it. They don't realize that they could get halfway up that hill and not be able to get the rest of the way up.
And that's what I wanted to get to, because I do deliveries outside of Renfrew County and as other people do here. And when you go outside of Renfrew County, like I say, they're all different times. So right now, you know, the city of Ottawa has had theirs on. So once you get beyond Arnprior, they come on March 6th. So we have to rely on these times to be accurate at the time. So you can't always tell ahead of time, or you don't get maybe notifications. So if you're 300 miles away from your home location, you have to rely on what these signs are saying. And if the signs are saying something that they're not, it's really hard to know when they're supposed to be in effect, right? So
Well,
there's clarification.
None of you want to be in trouble with the MTO.
No.
And the
No,
people that hire you to do some of their work don't want you to have your license taken away by the MTO. I think that there's sort of a ripple effect.
absolutely. And with the forest industry and with the logging over the years, because basically around here, we're the only ones that are really busy at this time. But we've worked in the past with other road supers in different locations. And, you know, they said, like, you know what, if you're using your head, right, and you're not going in the middle of the day with the sun shining on it, you're not doing damage and it's froze at night, you know, I stay in the center of the road basically when it's night and you're staying off the edges, you're quite fine to do so, right? We've worked together with municipalities over the years to prevent that, because none of us want to see any damage to any infrastructure. We're taxpayers here too. We don't want to see the damage, and we don't want to be labeled as the bad guys destroying anything either. And that's where I wanted to go in with the split regulation, and you know how our pounds per square inch is really in no more effect. And the best time to do the harvest is in the winter when the roads are froze, when there is basically no damage being done. So that's when it has to happen. And of course, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see, you know, something, you know, guys are going to be real busy, and then it's going to slow down, because we're always going to get mild days and stuff in March and whenever it may happen. But effectively, what we're trying to do is get enough product to the mills in order for them to keep going through the spring while nothing is coming in. And just remember too, like once you get into a few weeks of your half load season, we're hauling out of the bush. So if it's soft to the point where we know it's causing problems with infrastructure, we're not getting out of the bush either, because it's too muddy. So it's not happening, right? So it doesn't happen that much. You might have the odd bad influence or bad apple, but it's not a regular occurrence.
That was fun facts with Tim Cision.
Well, that's, from what I've seen, it probably had to be said. So, another thing before I leave you guys, and thank you very much for your time. As a request from Eddie Heidemann out at Laverne Heidemann and Sons, they would love to see every one of you council members and whoever may like to come for a tour and see how things are operational in the largest employer in Glacier Valley.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And before we started, my suggestion to the Heidemans was that, we go by on our road tour, which we'll have this spring. But it was suggested that perhaps we should spend a little more time there, getting the history of the mill. They've done quite a large expansion, which has just been amazing for our area. So I think that they probably deserve more than the 15 or 20 minutes that we would afford them. So I think that with our road super, we can find, or maybe just council, with our CAO, we can find a time to visit Heidemann Sawmill.
And Ned, can we try to coordinate that for the next council meeting before it, like we've done with the arena, the dog pound? Just because we know for everyone's scheduling purposes.
You might want to wait until, do you think in the winter it's still appropriate, or should we wait until April?
Anytime, it's a good go, actually, before it gets muddy in the mill yard,
Yeah,
I would
good point.
recommend it. So,
Yeah.
just as a kickback to the way the operations worked out at Laverne Heidemann and Sons. When I was 12 years old, as I said, second generation logger, Laverne had a property in Matawachin, and my dad was in there trucking, harvested it when I was 12 years old. And I now, with my own truck, have been returning to that now twice to harvest it. So they really promote, they're fantastic stewards. They really promote sustainable forestry and environmentalists to a T. So we take the biggest care, we take the biggest pride in our communities and the forest. And we really, it's a hard thing to promote to the municipalities and to the general population. And it's hard to hear otherwise. So that's why I think it was very important to come here today and just kind of set the record.
And we really appreciate you coming, Tim. And yes, I mean, I have my own personal experiences with Heidemann's doing our red pine plantation, and they truly are stewards of any plantation. You know, when it was clear cut across the road from me, I think that was heartbreaking to all of us to see that it could have been properly forested. And we learn all about that at the County of Renfrew, so.
And the sad part of that was the proximity to where we are. And it kind of reflected, and it's one of those
And it
things.
was not
So,
them.
no, I really look forward to working with council and keeping you informed if you can. And everybody here has my number, contact, whatever it may be. By all means, any questions at all, feel free to reach out. I'll try to make it a little shorter than next time, but
We got Tim.
That's all right. Tim, I already deducted off your next delegate.
listen, guys, if you just want me to come and visit, just ask, right, you know.
He's taking out my mayor's report.
Okay, well, I did it before too, so anyway,
All right, thanks, Tim, for
thank you
coming.
very much for having
Best
me.
luck. Thanks.
I gotta go back to work now. Have a good day, everybody.
All right, Daryl, you're up.
Are those helping, John?
Daryl, first off, I just want to thank you for the long-winded report you provided.
I was exhausted.
The water and sewer, it was good. It was a fun read.
I'll bet you. Very exciting.
So walk us through your report there.
Okay, the report. Well, going okay. Like that. And,
Meeting's over.
pretty much, yeah.
Water still running downhill.
Water's still running down, no action's going up now. The other stuff is going down. We got some, new backflow valves installed on our hydrant, the old ones which that leak.
Mhm.
We got that done. Now we're up against the valves behind them. Behind them are starting to leak too, so, but that'll be probably next year now. I got a quote from Harrington's to do some stainless steel piping to change the piping on the inlet side of the plants. Which I hope is going to increase our productivity in the summertime. So. And you got our drinking water report,
Mhm.
and we need a resolution.
It was
for
a
that.
riveting read.
Actually, it was, I actually enjoyed the
It
flow,
was.
like the flow rate side of it and stuff. It's
Yeah.
actually pretty interesting how it's broken down.
And the sewage, you got that report also, and
Mhm.
it's all right. We had, our inspection done. We actually just got the report like an hour ago, so next meeting we'll review that. But everything looks good so far. That's it.
Perfect. Any questions from you, council?
Got lots more problems, but I won't tell you.
I had a sense. There's been a bit of activity going
Yeah.
on. Yeah,
Anyway, it's going good.
Perfect.
Let you know when everything is straightened out.
the master of understatement.
All right?
All
Well,
right.
thank you for not
Thanks, sir.
worrying us before there's something to worry about.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, thanks, sir. Have yourself a great day.
Good night, Darryl.
Jason?
Well, Jason's here, we should also talk about the correspondence, where I'm assuming Marco's here. There.
Oh, yeah. So Jason, walk us through your report once you're organized.
So there was some questions brought forth about construction on Spring Creek.
Yeah,
I did a rough estimate of what, we have numbers from engineers reports, or to do numbers. They're rough. I don't know what this year's numbers are. I took it off of last year's numbers. I did contact one contractor just to see how much things did go up. 10 to 15% across the board, pretty much. So those numbers are probably going to be low. The guardrails, I did get a price back. So you can add another 42,000 onto that price for the guardrails. Plus, if the contractor does that work, it will have to be a road design done on it also. I was not able to get a price on a road design in that short of time.
okay, and the other thing that we were just talking about is, when we did our 10-year plan, we wouldn't have planned for whatever you want to call them, extended lane or widened lanes or active transportation lanes. They're talked about in all sorts of different ways. And I as Tim was doing his delegation, I was thinking that this road is prime to apply for a grant for exactly what we did on Fourth Chute. And the reason I'm saying that is that the way 512 was constructed up to Spring Creek, it did not have widened lanes. I mean, they're a little wider, but they're not widened. But most of the rehabilitation after Foran's Corners on does have widened lanes, some of them not as wide as the new construction. But knowing that the Tour de Bonachère and other motorcycle clubs, etc., are using that road, and then being able to use Spring Creek as opposed to using that portion of 512 that doesn't have widened lanes, that would be a very good fit, I bet, for an infrastructure grant.
For sure.
Yeah.
Now, there is an area there also that is, it looks narrow because there's such a big hill, right? Now, the other thing is too, there may have to be some property purchase to make that road wide enough
Wider,
because
yeah.
for drainage, right? Because there is a cross culvert just at the top of the hill that collects a lot of water.
But even when we look at 512, Jay, from a county perspective, just in this new phase, they had purchased property from 35 resident owners. And the amount of land is negligible. What the county took in front of my house, I don't even remember what it looks like. And quite frankly, if it makes their roads safer and easier to get in and out of their driveways, and the roads are draining better because they're wider and they're not breaking off, people want a smooth, safe road to drive on. So with the amount of land that you're talking about, I don't see that as being a barrier.
No, that's right. And I've already talked to a couple of the landowners. And they are willing to, you know. Give up a chunk of property, especially where the hill is. You really go. So. that
That's
would be
great.
Further conversations and.
It would be very benefit to have better roads too.
For sure, for sure. Now, thing is, if you fix the road, you're gonna get speed.
No, you don't say.
So, you know,
We,
it's always that issue.
we call that the Wet Cemetery Speedway.
It didn't happen in our river.
It's
Yeah,
nice and smooth now.
yeah, no, I can't believe.
Haven't seen your speed bumps yet.
Well, that'll be, so that's pretty much, when Spring Creek is looking at it about 7 years.
Yes.
And we're staying fairly consistent to that then, yeah. Yeah, because this year is most likely that's out toward Zado or,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll bring that for us.
But knowing that Spring Creek is on our radar
Yes.
and knowing that we would like to widen it, I'm assuming all of council is in favor. I think wherever we get an opportunity to widen, we should. It does lengthen the longevity of the road because you're not getting breakage of the white line and you're not getting necessarily the hump and on the yellow line because people have more lane to deal with. I think wherever we have this opportunity, we should make sure that we have it firmly in our sights for grant opportunities earlier, rather than later, because the province loves shelf-ready projects.
We're back to do it right the first time.
That's right.
And I think a lot of that base already, I've talked to a couple of senior people around the area. And a lot of that material, that road was all built up, you know, with very good gravel.
As I said, from phone calls I've had from that road, expressed the same idea that when the road was built, it was built with a good gravel base.
Yes, and there was lots of good gravel in it, so. You know, to bring it up to what we want, I don't think it's gonna be a big task. A lot of it's in good shape, so.
Oh, and just for your edification, Jay, you know, when you turn right at the Shell onto 512 and there's a pothole that a Volkswagen could fit in.
Yes.
So I did bring that to county. Apparently, the Ministry of Transportation actually owns a certain portion of into 512.
It's right on the edge of that.
So they've been alerted. I just wanted you to know that. I meant to send you an email and I forgot.
They have been patching it, but just the
Oh,
way the
it's-
weather is, it's just blowing it.
Yeah, look.
It's terrible. It's gotta be like this big.
Yeah, I think it's bigger. I think it's bigger, for sure. Any other questions on the construction for Spring Creek? No. Good. Great. So my second topic. I have contacted MTO. Because I have noticed down at the stoplights where they have their big green signs with the white lettering. There is no Pembroke sign. So I brought that to their attention.
Until I saw your report, I had never noticed that before.
That was, it's funny, like that's such a common sense, like when you just look at it, you're like, oh, 100%, there should be a Pembroke sign, because I was trying to figure out like, what's the best designation to put a sign, being like, okay, like large truck traffic hang left here,
Yeah.
like it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
But I think that designation will definitely help out.
Yes,
And I love that there's like Barry's Bay
At some
and
point,
Huntsville.
at some
No
point,
Pembroke.
there had to been. Like it just,
Someone stole it.
to my knowledge, there was never a sign there for
Well,
Pembroke.
the Pembroke 41 now changed to 35 is just as, or when you go around the corner, when you're actually on 41,
Mhm.
the sign is about 70 meters up.
So that,
That you're talking about at 41 at the T?
At 41 and
yeah,
60
just,
in the
if
village.
you're standing right on the bridge, then looking at towards the.
Oh, I
museum.
see, no. there,
There's-
yes.
Same
It
as the
says
package.
literally Barry's Bay, Killaloe, Huntsville. Pembroke, Douglas, yeah. Cause that gets you to downtown Douglas.
Yeah.
hopefully, I've contacted them, they're looking into it. So that's something to look forward to, I hope. Because after last week, there was two stuck.
Yeah. Now, did the first one the one that I sent the original email, did that person slide back down the hill? Or did they just get stuck like that?
So they got stuck on the first portion of the hill
Okay,
and they were able to get back down because we threw some salt. down.
I was alerted to that, yes.
Yes.
One of our residents actually phoned me
Mhm.
and said you wouldn't believe the amount of salt and sand that they've had to put down, so we
It's either that or, you know, if you would have slid down, well, then you're into big issues because when you did come down, you blocked the whole highway,
right.
you know.
I can send you guys the photo if you want. It's pretty wild.
So we got them going again and everything turned out okay, but then there's a second one that was stuck also.
And was one of the trucks getting stuck on that hill, bottom part of that hill, because the transmission overheated, so it wasn't just an ice problem, it was once when it was mechanical failure?
Before, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, before. But there's,
Not these two, though.
no, not these two. It's just their tires are meant for the highway and not for snowy conditions. So, yeah, we had to spend a little bit of salt there and get it going. Okay, so now, also, if council feels that, you know, an issue yet, we can also put a steep hill sign at the bottom at the intersection of Bruce and Highway 60.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Now I did go and roughly measure the angle of the road, so we can also put that on the bottom of it, just to give them an idea of how steep it is.
Yep, makes sense. Well, it's a recurring problem, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's scary coming down it in the winter too, even in my truck.
But just
For
think, before they put the bypass, everything went up and down there.
That's right, it did.
I used to sit in the science room in the school watching them walking down, which is now the library.
Yes. Okay. So as to my last meeting, council report on February 7th. For Bruce and Spring Creek, I want to be clear that I only wanted to indicate Heidemann Sawmill as one of the users of the road. However, I did not mean to imply that their trucks were causing any issues. We did issue a retraction of the statements, beating the crap out of the roads and not listening to half loads. While heavy traffic does cause wear and tear on our roads, the truck industry also provides employment for many of our residents. I have continued my investigation of the truck routes at this time, and I am not recommending moving forward as you will hear in my report.
Thanks, Jay. I also made a mistake because I think that my comments about truck traffic in front of my house were taken as that it was logging traffic, but I have a lot of transport
Yes.
traffic now that we never had before. I mean, the odd, but far more now.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was unfortunate. But I think that you weren't getting your point across the way you wanted
That's
to. It was just unfortunate. Yeah.
I should have chosen a few more politically correct words.
Well, without going there, and we appreciate Tim Chisholm coming in and helping to understand the issue better too. There's two sides. And it's probably good for us always to listen to both
Correct.
sides.
Well, and that's why we didn't agree on the bylaw,
That's right.
right? We have to carefully consider what decisions we're making at this table.
So number 3, we have had
Yeah.
inquiries from some waste collection contractors. Where before residents, if they had C&D or household garbage, it would go to auto valley waste. They have denied them of this, so these contractors have come to us and asked. Because we only have 6 and 8 cubic yard bins on our bylaw. They want 10, 14s and 20s added to it. So, the increased price would have to be added any platform.
And sorry, just gonna go to our fees and
how much more volume would that bring into
I was
the
wondering
snow
if there's
drifters? Would
That's
that law that be turned to fill, or is it gonna limit the
snow
capacity?
drifters. Snow drifters, that's all ground up.
Yeah.
And we put it into landfill as ground material,
Mhm.
which then, starts to break down quicker. And then the pile would eventually, decrease a lot. Over my time that I've been involved with that. It's already dropped a significant amount because the material is broke down. But yes, it could increase, because a lot of times if the loads are contaminated and we notice that they are contaminated at snow drifters, we deny the load
Right.
because you don't know, there could be hazardous
Anything.
waste.
Yeah.
There could be air conditioners, there could be fridges, freezers.
But
That's,
we already accept loads from these contractors
We do.
currently.
we do.
The difference is we're just asking for they're just asking for larger bin sizes.
Correct.
Okay,
So you've got 6s, 8s. What are you suggesting for a fee bylaw for a 10?
$158 plus the opening fee.
Yeah, the $40. Yeah.
Now, that's just for, that could be just for household also, right? So then that would have to go to Ruby Road site. And we would only accept that on one day, which is Friday. When we
Right.
cover it. So, it's gonna put more strain on us if we have to, if they say they have 2 or 3 loads. Right, and it could be coming from wherever in the township. So that would mean that, we'd have to lose someone there to cover this material.
I guess, would it make the most sense to see, I guess, see how it goes, see what the difference is, and then just adjust it if it's like, we don't want to obviously lose money
No.
on it. It makes no
No.
sense, and we already have staffing issues, so the thing is it, like, how I look at it is just like, review our hours, see
That's
what's
right.
gonna make the most sense, let the contractors know, and then
Yeah.
go from there. Also,
right.
we don't wanna limit our life expectancy faster if we're taking more material from other municipalities.
That's right, and
But
now
it's
even,
not another me- I just wanted
It's
to-
just, it's just us, okay.
yes,
But do you even have staff to do this?
well, right now, we send the loader up on a Friday morning.
Okay,
If the garbage isn't, and then plus also the garbage truck on Friday also to dump.
okay,
So there's 2 people, you lose that one person driving the garbage truck for about an hour. And a little bit, an hour, 20 minutes, by the time you drive up, come back, dump. Plus then the guy loaded or covering, it's about 2.5 hours plus the driving. And that's
Should
just,
you be-
that's just to do what we have to do with our sites and town.
then should you be opening up your opening fee in this, the fee structure?
Possibly, we'd have to look at that and just see.
Okay, I kind of agree with Brent. I think we go ahead and see how it goes, but I think that this bylaw, well, the bylaws, the schedule of fees has to be amended anyway.
Yes,
So can you bring us the amount that you think would be fair for the contractor, fair for the municipality as an opening fee for that special day? Or should that fee be changed anyway, because we haven't changed this bylaw since 2021? And did we even change those fees? Because I have a feeling we didn't change those.
yes, we did.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, we put the tipping fee up from 30 to 40. I believe,
Okay,
so 30 or 35. We did put it up,
are you sure?
yes.
Okay, I believe you. Others wouldn't, but I do. Okay,
Plus, we also put our tonnages up. On the sorted, not the unsorted.
right,
This is for C and D.
yeah. Okay. Yeah,
So the mentioned person that some contractors requested larger loads be allowed in, but the same material but larger containers.
Correct.
Okay, and those contractors, are they waste haulers or these demolition from contractor and building
It
contractors?
could be both.
Okay, so for all contractors,
Yes.
just to bring in larger tipping.
Right, and so like the household, they will drop the bins at household, that I've seen a few around town already. There's household garbage in them, plus there's also, it could be anything, right?
Yeah, any open dumpster is a fair target. yes.
Exactly. And that's the thing, right? If we check it, we can deny it, and we've asked that they sort it prior to coming to our site. To save time on our end,
That should be reasonable, yes.
you know, it only makes it fair, right? Because if we have to spend an hour for them to sort it out, that's extra time that we could be doing something else.
But we have that challenge at the shop. Where we've got a bin specifically for steel. And somebody will throw a bag of household in it, right?
Boy, you get couches, mattresses.
Oh, yeah,
everything.
batteries,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's always fun.
yeah.
You wake up and you're like, oh, my bin's full. Oh, okay,
Exactly.
that's great. Okay, so then you'll just review it and then bring it back to us?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to know what it actually will cost us. So Jay, did you see these road allowances shared with BLR? Concerns?
Nothing, no,
Okay, so just an agreement then, you think
yes,
absolutely necessary?
that's right.
Because they're offering to do,
Yeah, it seemed pretty straightforward. It's just an agreement between two municipalities and that's where the complexity really arose, right?
Correct.
yeah,
Yes.
it was just like 70 pages of our package. I thought somebody made a mistake and just kept adding the same one. Nope, they're all different. Yeah.
So then no concerns with
No
was
concerns.
addressed.
Okay. Yeah, and you know all the sites and the roads and,
Correct.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent, okay.
Now there's one more, right? That you're gonna have for Kavanaugh's, Marco.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I have no concerns.
he's still sitting here. He's so patient, that Marco.
Yes, I have no concerns.
Okay,
Excellent. Perfect. Anything else, Jason?
I have nothing else. Anyone have any questions? Just thought one thing, half codes will be going on March 15th.
March 15th. I said that earlier, but you weren't here. Yeah, we're just following the county, right? Yeah. That's the best way to go. It's just to be consistent across the county.
It is, but sometimes like last year, you gotta remember, right, we have to get it into paper. The week ahead almost.
Right.
So if I was talking to the county already and they were still talking about it. So unless you already knew that it was coming this week, no? Was there any mention at the meeting?
Yeah, I think it was in the. I think it was in the operations report for today. I'm not in operations, but we get all the reports.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did run into a bit of an issue last year and I just went ahead a week ahead and put it.
Oh, just for timing?
Yes.
Okay.
Timing, yes.
Yeah.
So, that's-
Sure, I'm like,
that's-
how did I know that? Now I remember.
That's the only issue, right? Is the paper to get it in. Facebook and the township website isn't a problem.
Perfect. Thanks, Jason.
Decent.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye, Jay. So far behind.
Yeah, that's all right. No mayor's report today, I guess.
Well, I got a mayor's report. That is really funny that there's no Pembroke at that
Mayor's, you
intersection.
off on the barge?
I don't, the furnace is fixed. I don't know if he's here.
I saw.
Yes. Their furnace went down in the garage last night. What? Oh, yeah. You set the bar really low, my friend, really low
Oh, your furnace broke down?
in the garage.
Oh.
Apparently it's got.
Hello?
Wow, I hardly recognize the place. It's been so long.
I know.
Just hold your phone out for a second, Dave.
Yeah, and sit, like, can you go ahead and park in that sit in your
We'll-
truck?
We'll get you a cardboard cutout.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's one thing the pandemic did do is it gave me some flexibility.
Yeah.
To be able to, but especially with being shorthanded at the shop, right? To be able to do that, so it's good. Not quite as personal as being there, but. Yeah.
Besides that.
I have nothing.
Well, I'd like to talk about the naloxone.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't know why Brendan's looking at me.
I talked to Kevin Martin again last night. That's absolutely doable. He actually gave us a few. Just to have, the vehicles, but if that's the way council wants to go, the memorandum of understanding is.
Yeah, it's really straightforward to be
Yeah, it
honest.
is, yeah.
And-
Just have to personalize it to the township.
Yeah.
And we can have an agreement with our CDH, Renfrew County and District Health units,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they will provide as well. And it was kind of interesting in my last Board of Health meeting. I said to our acting medical officer of health, like years ago, we talked about this. And it was sort of a no. And now seeing the evolution, especially over the
Post-COVID,
pandemic.
yeah.
My goodness gracious, like now, if there was ever a time, this is the time. And I think that, you know, knowing they've also come a long way, these kids. So I think if this is something we can do, we do it.
I think it's like, because I have teenage boys, it's, you know, my eldest son actually lost a friend who had, you know, smoking pot at a party, but it had fentanyl in it. Kind of thing.
That
She
is
did-
so scary.
Yeah, she was 16, right? So, and there's another woman I know died at early 20s, same thing. Didn't know it was in it, didn't know fentanyl was in the product they were consuming.
Right.
So it's not even that people are actively obviously trying to use this stuff, it is a global epidemic. Opioid abuse, and Niagara, there was a discussion about it, and what they're doing to counteract this, so. Doesn't hurt, right? Something so simple to solve a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and speaking with paramedics, they see it all the time.
Yeah,
It's
right.
kind of-
Oh, the stats from 2019 to 2023 are very, very, very scary. And they're not even getting all those calls. Some of the calls are just,
Where it's too late,
the person's gone.
yeah.
The coroner.
That's right. Which is. It's heartbreaking.
And also with my report, there was Daryl and I attended a virtual all chiefs town hall. I think that the point of the town hall was to lean on the fire departments and municipalities about getting, buying in on this legacy and the certification. There was other information, they're changing the reporting, which is our SIRs, our standard incident reports, they're changing the format. So the implication for us will be our firehouse software. So we'll have to make sure we watch and see what changes and make sure that, because firehouse is out of the States. So we have to, I think Mitch was the one that dealt with them last time, so we'll have to make sure that we're on top of that as well, because all of our reports all go really wrong,
Right.
yeah.
Good luck with that, Daryl.
They've also changed, and I don't know why, their response, their investigative response, they call it a major incident response team now instead of just fire investigations. They've upped the property value to $1 million. When I started with the fire service, it used to be 250,000, and I don't know if that's because of property, reflecting property values, they're that much more. So it's $1 million now in financial loss. Obviously explosions, personal injury, or sorry, serious injury, they won't come for now. It's got to be, can't remember what they call it, threat to life, like a threat to life. So just if somebody gets burnt, if they don't feel that they're going to die, they won't come. Right, so they're kind of scaled back, and I don't know if it's because of staff, maybe they're not responding to as many things as they were responding to before. And the big thing was that less than 10% of the fire departments in the province have actually opted into the legacy so far. So they're a bit afraid of that. They don't know what's going on, so they're kind of threatening, but not threatening. Right. So I think one of the biggest things, especially for us, is that fire departments are taking their time. They're not going to jump into the legacy because of the over, the threatening tone of the evaluation. Right, they're going to be auditing everybody, right? So it was kind of not rolled out very smoothly. In my
Do you
mind. I
also
that's why
think that maybe they're wondering, because of course you were involved with the previous Liberal government retracting in 2017,
Yeah.
right? Threatening to put all these restrictions and certifications in, and then once they realized what they were doing to composite and, I hate this term, but volunteer fire departments, they backed off, realizing that it was really only the career fire departments that could achieve the goals that they were setting out. Do you think maybe some of these departments are thinking they'll pull back,
Maybe they have to
like hedging their bets,
first.
maybe? Because at AMO, there were a lot of disgruntled people in the room with the panel of fire departments that were presenting.
Yeah. And the buy-in seems to be 10%, less than 10%. So right now, and I don't know if there's going to be a big rush at the end, but there are 2 windows. But they're telling people, don't wait to the second window. Because it'll be too late if there's a problem. You won't be able to fix it after the second window closes. So I don't know why the buy-in.
But if we as a municipality know that we can't achieve the goals that they're setting. Without grandfathering and legacy, right? But that doesn't help us in, say, 3 or 4 years. So if we know as a council that in 3 or 4 years, we are not going to be able to sustain the fire department the way we are right now. Then is it our problem or is it the province's problem? I'm just putting it out there. I just think that, there are certain things that we are creatures of the province. We know we're creatures of the province and we have to adhere to the things that they drop on us. But with this government claiming that they were going to be less red tape, less regulation, and then this comes in, as well as many other things over the last couple of years. I just wonder if some of the municipalities are just saying enough's enough. We're not doing this. We're going to run our fire department the way we've been running it with the training that we have. I don't know. Just being at 2 conferences in the last 6 months and hearing how ticked off some of these councils are, I'm just presupposing.
Thing is, we've obviously trained a Ministry of Labor guidelines or standards like any other business. But the department, like, so the OFMEM could just change the goalpost, which means now we're not compliant. Right? And that's what they keep doing. They keep shuffling the goalposts down the road. And we have to keep changing strategy, and it costs us more and more money every time we do it. And, to find, and the commitment level, some people will join the department with a certain commitment level. And that's all they can give. And if it goes over and above that, they opt out, right? And it's the retention of recruits is going to be a real challenge when after the legislation comes into force. I think it's in 2025, 2 years they have to be certified. How can we do that? Right? If people are working full time, even though we do have a really good training program right now, and we're working towards firefighter 1 and 2, that's the focus for this year and next year. To be able to get people, even if they're not legacy, get them to the point where they could be a proctor could come and test them. But it's a big investment. Right?
Yeah.
So, we want everybody to be safe, but on the other hand, 95% of the injuries in the fire service are from full-time departments. Right, big city departments are that's where the injuries happen. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
but there are budgetary implications to those 2 years of training to get a proctor here. So that $982.50 that you got as a grant, which it is a smack in the face at best. And I spoke to the minister and the Ontario Fire Marshal about it. I think that, again, where are the funds coming from and the incentives to get new people on board and have them trained to the level, as you say, they're changing the goalpost, they're changing the rules in the middle of the game, and we're just trying to keep up. So. Did you see your friend Marco back there?
Oh, yeah, good, you did it.
I like that he has to peek his head out. Perfect. Anything else for
I have something, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind.
perfect?
But Councillor Epps does first.
Sorry, so we're already using the legacy software for our incident reports. Is that correct?
no, the legacy is part of our part of our certification process. So
Okay,
the software we have now, the Firehouse is the software.
firehouse.
And that's what the changing of the incident report, the structure of our incident reports our reports we submit to the province quarterly. That's where there's going to be a problem.
And that software is the one where you say a lot of 10% of departments are lagging behind and getting on.
No, that's the training.
That's the training.
Yeah, that's the training.
I think I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dave. Annette?
So I just want to say thank you to Dave for coming in today because I'm so excited. So this is how I'm going to day, whether my days of success or my days of failures, if Dave shows up for council today. Because I know he's super busy and everything all the work that we've done together, not all of it, but a lot of it's been done by Zoom. So I just want to say thank you very much for all of your dedication to the township. 20 years in the fire service, you've been a leader, you've been an inspiration, community spirit. I just want to say thank you so much. And on behalf of staff council, the community. I told you I would make a big deal out of it. I'm just gonna.
She
give you this.
crying.
Thanks.
I'm not saying it.
Yeah,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much.
Oh,
He's not camera ready.
May I open this first? I did return your calls, by the way.
I know.
She's like, sure you did. Others wouldn't believe you, but she does. What?
I don't want in the photo.
Blue green screen, you don't.
Yeah, sure.
People keep asking me, what's he gonna do with all of his spare time? I'm like, we still own Murphy's Auto. He's not retiring,
Hey, have some
retiring.
spare time.
Well,
Yeah, that's
furnace
it.
is fixed now, so.
The furnace is fixed, thank God.
He's gonna be able to get 8 hours of sleep a night now,
He doesn't sleep 8 hours a night.
but maybe he can now.
Find script. and
Thank you so much, everybody. That's great.
Thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much, Dave.
I don't know where I'm gonna use that. Thank you.
Here, I'll throw that in my purse for you.
Okay. Where do you want to photograph?
Do you want to just call it a couple minutes? break?
Yeah.
All right, we'll just take a
Okay.
5-minute break, everyone. Perfect.
Do we have a stock photo at the later? You can use?
do.
When I'm really way younger.
No, all of us over 50 are like, no cameras, no cameras.
Okay, so we are back on.
Perfect. So we're moving on to correspondence, A now, AMO watch file. Nothing really there, to be honest. Correspondence B, so there's multiple things. We've already discussed, both the right-of-way application, B 213, 214, and the McIntyre request as well.
Yep.
So we already discussed those. Genevieve O'Grady, lighting request for National Medical Laboratory Week.
I don't know if we have Indigo.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was kind of just trying to keep my comment fairly basic, I guess. If we celebrate everything every week, then we'd have too many things to celebrate, so I'd just say no.
We can do it on the electronic side.
Yeah, you could add to electronic sign,
That's about-
that's about it,
But do we have Indigo?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
got all kinds of
Alright.
photos.
yeah,
That's all.
that's fine, it seems simple, nothing, doesn't really increase staff time. Then we carried over Robert Osborne's Maple Leaf tax. He was asking for $12 on every, I think it was 100,000.
That was written well.
Aside.
I like that.
It is very interesting. It is addressed to Mayor Horwath, which I assume is Andrea,
Mhm.
in Hamilton. Anyway, I think that if we're considering this, it's something for consideration at budget. I don't think it's a bad idea, but it is $12 more. And I think it's $1 a month on every household.
Well, yeah, like I'm not in favor of it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a budgetary
Yeah.
item.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other comments?
There may be other ways to support other solutions. that don't
Absolutely.
impact our
I think
residents
that
and
there
much
are.
on our money.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's also like, just how the fund here works, it's like, well, there's also local affordable housing for seniors as well in the area
Yeah.
as well, so
There's lots of other issues.
there's a lot of.
Bringing it forward to budget.
I think it's for consideration of budget, but I think that
I'm not.
I,
crazy
I,
about the
I would
idea.
say no off I'm saying no myself.
Yeah,
To me, there's nothing to consider. I would just say no. If we want to delegate funds towards it, we can delegate it, so. But I would say no.
John, your thoughts?
I don't understand it enough to know that I want to say no. I want it to be, it's not revenue neutral. So
No, it's not.
so I lean towards not accepting it, but.
And it's on us to collect.
Yeah,
Tracy,
I'm undecided to say not knowing enough and thinking of
Okay.
other solutions.
so no,
Don't bring it to budget.
that's what I'm hearing.
No,
I found actually pretty, the one was interesting that the town of Deep River, the Ontario School Board elections, so that was just on, pretty much just, we run the trustee elections, and just asking for money
So,
from it.
so my thinking is that it's not that much more work, and maybe Annette will correct me on this, to have the school board elections if there's a general election. But say everybody at this table's acclaimed and there's a school board election. That falls on Bonashir Valley taxpayers to run.
You gotta run a school, you gotta run an
You
election.
have to run a full election, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it's something we should support.
Don't bring it forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes sense to me.
Without, there's gotta be something, right? And I think that there was,
Well, they actually go from this, so if I read there's one of them, I don't remember which one, I thought it said their recommendations from the top down,
yeah,
so. But yeah, no, just bring it towards the next meeting then.
Thanks.
And then, that was pretty much, all of them. Was there any other ones that people wanted to discuss?
you hit it.
Okay, now we're on to new unfinished business, 8.1. Reminder, we have a public meeting at 5:25 PM today. I'm guessing that's via Zoom, or is it?
I can do it by Zoom or here.
I'll probably be in here.
I would prefer to go home.
Okay.
The weather's kind of nasty out
That's
there.
fine.
and I'll stay here. if
Oh,
that's
that's,
all right.
okay, that's.
Yeah, so just keep it flex for both then.
Sure. fine.
And then we have the mayor's report.
All right, to Bonashir Valley Council, I am respectfully submitting my mayor's report from March 7th, 2023. Since my last report, I attended 24 meetings and I've got some highlights below. I think I forgot to email this out, so I will do so when I'm done. The Eastern Ontario Regional Network had a large turnover of members after the election. Many members didn't re-up to be elected in the October election. And we had some public members that were done their term periods. So the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus appoints their elected members. The Eastern Ontario Mayor's Caucus appoints a member, and I'm part of our nomination committee for public members. These interviews begin tomorrow afternoon. The Orne Board also requested from the province a 13-month extension to the Cell Gap project, just due to several challenges, including supply chain issues. We're requesting this out of an abundance of caution to ensure that we are fully funded to the end of the phase of this project, just in case. As we were in a countywide significant weather event on February 9th, the second Ontario Winter Games opening ceremonies were canceled and switched to an online ceremony to ensure that the athletes were greeted. Realistically, every Thursday, I think, in February, there was some sort of significant weather event. Weather was not on our side. On February 13th, I attended orientation as the new member of the Roma board. And on February 17th, attended my first official Roma board meeting. The executive treasurer gave an overview of the initial financials coming out of the conference. But I'll bring a further report with final numbers. We think that we had between 15 and 16, or maybe 15 and 1700 delegates, which is one of the biggest conferences they've ever seen. And I don't have the final financials, but all indications say that the conference did very well this year. We also had an update from our team lead for events and training with a report card from attendees at the conference. Almost all comments were favorable. I can share that report. Also in my report, we had an update from Red Brick Consulting, their communications group. And there's a whole bunch of stats here about the media interest, increased Twitter, increased Facebook, LinkedIn. It's quite something. We also had a briefing and discussion on opportunities for the Rural Ontario and Attainable Housing Task Force. So we're already switching to that name, and a presentation from Ellen Sinclair from the Rural Ontario Institute. On February 22nd and 23rd, we held budget deliberations at the county. This was a very challenging budget to achieve the target of 2.5% levy increase, which was set last September. Staff made necessary cuts to their departmental budgets. Some of the cuts were not palatable to County Council, including the elimination of an overnight 12-hour shift of paramedic service at the Eganville base. In fact, we agreed that there should be another 24-hour shift and an additional ambulance, which would up our service quite substantially since it hadn't been updated in about 15 years. Where the service will be based will be a discussion for another day. In the end, we did achieve the 2.5% increase, but this required that any surpluses from 2022 be used for operational budget items in 2023. Normally, these surpluses would be added to our capital reserves to fill our capital asset management plan and our long-term financial plan. Normally, I would not have voted in favor of this, but I said it at county and I'll say it here. With the budgetary pressures on our residents right now, there was no other way to achieve this budget. The warden and myself as chair of finance congratulated the staff and council for their efforts in achieving this budget. We do have 9 new members on county council out of 17. So they were very engaged, and I think that they learned a lot. But wow, it was a long 2 days. On February 28th, I attended a roundtable discussion with MP Cheryl Gallant and mayors from around the county so that she has a clear understanding of the challenges we are experiencing at the municipal level. As in previous meetings, it is clear that most of our local levels, councils and staff are having similar difficulties. MP Gallant was very engaged and we thanked her for her valuable time. Yeah, it was a great afternoon. On March 1st, I attended County Council. Of note, in September 2022, the Federal Electoral Boundaries Commission issued a report that changed the electoral district of Redfern, Nipissing, Pembroke, removing the township of Greater Madawaska from Renfrew County. So we supported a resolution from GM opposing the proposal. Our former warden, Debbie Robinson, sent a letter. I've got some background here. In the end, the revised 2023 report indicates that the district, number one, we got to keep GM in Renfrew County. And the mayor of GM is my seatmate, so I said, we get to keep them. But also of greater interest is that our district of Renfrew, Nipissing, Pembroke is being renamed to Algonquin Renfrew Pembroke, recognizing the importance of the Algonquin people's history and presence in this region, which I think is an excellent change.
All the letterhead. That's what it changed.
Merv, I said the exact same thing, but you know what? I think it's a very, very, very good change. The county council update that you get once a month will be provided in your March 21st correspondence. I've got your thing now, John. Last but certainly not least, I hope everyone will come out this weekend for all of the amazing events planned for March Break Madness. Congratulations to Tracy and committee for their hard work to make this happen. The work that's gone on behind the scenes is insane. It is a jam-packed weekend, so let's get out and support our committee and have some fun. I'm personally looking forward to the ice bumper cars and the video game party bus. But there is something for everyone. And I have sent out texts to Mayor James Rose, Mayor Michael Donahue, Mayor Neil Nicholson, and Mayor Rob Weir as sort of a challenge for their councils to come on and be part of a team building exercise for us against them. So just some friendly fun. I told James to bring his neck brace. And that's my report, unless Tracy, you'd like to add anything to
No,
March Madness.
Just the same thing, everybody in here and online, come out, as you said, there is something for everyone, jam-packed weekend. There was a scheduled Neganville Leader last week, and there'll be another one this week, so, and also on the township site, so.
And I know Brent's looking forward to Beauty Hills.
Give tells.
I love Beavertail.
He really does.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But no, the kids and I will be there. They're excited for the pancake breakfast and
Yeah.
we'll see how the bumper cars work, so.
We'll see how the adoption event works too. So we're supporting Whiskers and Alley Cats, a local rescue run by Lisa Belair. So they're using the tourist booth as an area to share and care kitties. And she's got a couple of munchkin cats. I don't know if you know what those are. Their legs are this big.
No.
Yeah, she's adopted. So it'll be, good mental health break, snuggle time with some cats and
I'm coming to Snuggles.
yeah.
Uh,
See you
and
there, Brent, right beside Beaver Tails.
You know what, when I was in university, I used to run all the programs to bring the dogs and the cats and stuff for all like the residents in the buildings
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's a great initiative, especially for adoption side.
Maybe
Makes
we
the
could do
most sense.
something with Fairfield. Who knows, right?
well, they do have therapy dogs that
Yeah.
go into Fairfields, yeah,
Yeah, they haven't been in for
No,
several
well,
years.
yeah. but they used to, yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
Everyone loves a dog.
So yeah, full weekend, lots to do, artisan festival on the Saturday. I had a cider company contact me about wanting to participate, and
That's great,
so
great
it's gonna
work.
be a tight space to get everyone in and our vendors, but should be a lot of fun.
But you guys would not believe
Yeah.
the flurry of emails and
My
phone
hair
calls.
got white. I used to have a little brown down. Wait,
I'm copied on every single email and I'm like.
sharing is caring.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say it one more time. I'll be there wherever you need me. Put me in, coach. I'll be wherever you need me. But like tons of hard work.
It's a
So
military operation.
it was. And the nice thing is that with the partnerships of the Legion and everybody in our area, there are things going all week, at the library. And so
They're just pulling it together, right?
Yeah.
We knew that there was a lot of things going on, but people that, you're thinking scattered, right? So it's just a way of packaging it up.
But
making it easier for
again,
people.
also living in silos, right? I talked about
Yes.
this earlier about municipalities. So once a month, we get that wonderful thing in the Eganville Leader, what's going on at the
Yeah.
Echo Center.
Yeah.
But I think that the way that you guys have done it with all the different partners, That's something that should always be done.
Well, it's when you're planning something, and you don't want to have it on the same day as someone
No.
else, so it's just complementing each other. So if
That's
someone
right.
coming to town, oh, I can do this at every hour, every moment on the weekend.
Right.
It's full, schedule's full.
No, it's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
It's like a busy week.
Yeah,
Yes, I'll be sleeping on Monday.
I'm not going to the youth dance.
No, I'm hoping we can drag out some teens for the drop-in curling, because that's a segment, like the youth dance doesn't target that age group.
Right,
So grade 9 to 12, right?
that's
So
why I
looking-
sent you that text.
Yeah,
Do the high school still do dances like they did when we were kids?
my kids have had one in 3 years.
Real, oh, I'm getting a nod from Sandra that they do.
Do they? Not often though, are they?
Oh, they probably were just restricted for the last 3 years.
Okay, my kids aren't telling me them.
Well, no, but Brent's right, like they haven't been doing them for 2.5 years.
Yeah. because they're-
Yeah, like this
Yeah.
is the first year, like people in high school and have a real high school is the best way to
Yeah.
put it.
It's not like 1999, as I keep saying.
No, the balloons are gone away, they're floated up.
I can't believe you know that song.
I know a lot of
Can
things.
you do it in
sometimes.
German?
No, I can't,
Which
Do
is this
that.
name?
999 saying
Yeah.
belongs. Yeah.
but
99 red balloons.
okay, well, the mayor's report is done, so we're gonna stay on task. So Bonish, the
Years.
Bonisher Authors Festival request for in-kind use of the Eagles Nest, so that's the exact same as what it's been for, so that's in July. There's actually 5 Mondays in July, that's the only difference this year. So means there's a 5th event this year that they'll be releasing.
It's great.
Yeah, it'll be really, actually, it'll be
Oh.
pretty exciting.
And we should report that we met today with North Algonah Wilberforce and the library. And
Well,
us, and
Well, it wasn't on the agenda, so we.
I know,
had it.
but I should have put it in my mayor's report.
Well-run board.
Very well run board.
No, I mean-
Accountability, focused on their fundraising and what, you know.
It's a really good working board and and honestly, the members from both North Algonah and Montreal Valley, it's a very good complement we have and Susan was a very good hire.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
For the board and stuff and
I can see that.
very hard working and from the area. And honestly, so when we're talking about the Bonisher Authors Festival, it's actually, I know none of the authors they're talking about, to be honest. I don't read books. They're trying to get me read Anne of Green Gables this year. And I said, I haven't read a book in like 5 years. I'll try.
Montgomery's dead.
Green Gables.
No, I'm from a different generation. And
Don't you have to study Macbeth in your day?
oh, we did make that.
Okay,
Yeah,
just checking.
yeah, I make Macbeth, all that. But no. But no, so it's funny because the Volunteer Author Festival, but they actually have bookings. We have like people emailing us now, like authors that are somewhat prominent, wanting to book us for next year.
Yeah.
So like 2024 and then looking at 2025 now. So it's actually, it's really nice and the authors this year are local, which is what we want and stuff. And like, so it'll be, we're trying to balance out the crowds too.
Mhm.
So no, it'll be a lot of fun. So
That's
if
great.
everyone's good with the in kind, then it's much appreciated. Everyone's good?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Definitely.
And then just for the dog pound, so we have a resolute. So the fourth one, I just wanted, just because we have resolution in our council meeting tonight for the closure of the dog pound. So it's more just a discussion towards it, I guess. Because we haven't really discussed it.
I suppose, you know, we had Daryl's report and we didn't do a whole lot of discussion because I thought that everybody needed to take it home, think about it, noodle on it, and really think about what we're doing in a thoughtful manner. We probably will get some pushback either way, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to speak to how they're feeling about the closure.
Yeah, no, like I guess on my end, it was like I went through Daryl's report and stuff, and that was kind of the purpose, I guess, of having like a 6-month review was just to kind of go over the numbers, reflect, see what I could find for previous years as well. Just reflect on that it was costing a significant amount of money, in my opinion, and I think it could be operated a lot better, and that's why I think the SBC arrangement is a lot better. It's 24-hour care, and that's why I like that we have that availability, especially with the minuscule amount of dogs that we currently take in. So that's my opinion on the matter.
I support the closure as well. 6 months ago, when I wasn't on council, It was hard from the paper to get a good understanding, but the last issue of the Leader has given a good explanation that should answer many questions. And for me personally, Tracy's investigation and our tour of the operation made it clear to me that a good enough job wasn't being done, and so it's the way it goes.
Thanks, John. I know, go ahead.
As you know, plan, I took it on as a pet project in November when I had heard that the one dog there, what we thought was 6 months, resided at the pound and was actually almost 2 years. So absolutely, and I think people misunderstood when this petition came out. I think people thought that it was cats and dogs
Absolutely, they did.
and not dogs. So when you look at a cost per dog and care, and it doesn't make sense for taxpayers, and the pound doesn't meet the health and safety needs of an animal that's there. You know, like Buddy didn't have any vetting, and just the dog that everybody knows about now in town, and he's living a wonderful life now. But lots of misinformation, communication,
We'll call
the
this
state of the pound.
the buddy resolution,
Yes, yes.
like a
love
bill,
that.
you know, when they
Yeah,
have, when they have a name.
Yeah, yeah. So SPCA, to Brent's point, does a fantastic job of caring for the animals. They're in, they get assessed by a vet, and typically, you know, they're adopted out in 3 days. That is the
Well-
best answer for care.
Well, a large organization.
Yeah, definitely. If they
And-
have
and
on-hand
vetted.
vets.
You brought that up before,
Yes.
vetted for the people vetted to adopt.
Yes, both
Right,
ways, to see a vet, what wasn't currently happening at the pound, if they weren't seeing vets and adopted out kind of thing, which is probably standard with most municipalities. I'm not saying it isn't, but SPCA is the better solution for that. For any
Thanks.
animals.
Merv?
Yes, I was shocked at 5 dogs a year. I was really shocked. And looking at the upgrade that's needed, et cetera, versus the cost, it doesn't make sense. Simply doesn't make sense to me.
And I was going to say, basically, I could just say ditto to everything you guys have said, but the one thing that I did realize after the petition came out, hearing from people, was that they misunderstood. As Tracy said, they thought cats were going there as well,
Mhm.
not realizing that Lisa Belair is a separate person. from-
Independent and no funding from the township or.
And actually doesn't even live in our township,
No, that's right.
which is ironic.
But
But I mean, she's Bonashir adjacent, but I think people thought that Lisa was bringing cats to our facility, which just wasn't the case. So I'm glad that we took the couple of weeks to really reflect on Daryl's report. I think that report was very well done, very well researched. Kudos to you and Daryl for taking that on. I think it was a necessary step in the decision making, that this wasn't just a knee jerk, you know, we're not doing this anymore. I agree with you, Brent, that the 6 months was very important just to have, because we haven't had reporting, obviously through COVID as well, but to have those hard numbers of, you know, how many dogs did we have? Where did they go? Were they owner returned? Were they not? I think that report was very well done.
I think you have to, sorry, I'd look at the requirements through PAWS and SPCA, animal welfare, and then we all physically went to the pound, everyone got to see it, and you can see clearly that it doesn't meet the needs. It's reality.
It's a shame.
Yeah, Daryl really took all of the information from all of the different agencies, all of the
Yeah.
different people. Sandra, as you know, did a large spreadsheet on the pound back last year, so took her information as well. It really was a group effort. And some of
Fantastic
Tracy's
report.
contacts with behavior, like it really, it all came together to give us the picture we were missing, the pieces we were missing.
The one question I wanted to ask you was, in Daryl's report, it said 9,000 per annum. I thought it was more like 15.
So right now we're losing about $9,000 a year. It was more, you know, depends on the hours that you give to the staff person. The $15,000 was what we were looking at to invest in the pound, to put some money into getting running water, better
Yeah.
lighting, heating, things like that. So, you know, at the moment, it's $9,000 a year if we leave it as it is, but that's, you know, that's having someone working 2 hours a day. That's having, you know, if you want more, if you want to go back to the 4 hours a day, you want to even increase it more, you want to improve lighting, you want to get running water, you want to do those types of things, the cost will just continue to increase. Yeah,
Okay,
So,
Sorry, I meant to ask that at our last meeting and it went by me and I just wanted that in my brain because I thought it was a lot more.
And we did increase our fees too, right? Like, don't forget, we
Right.
increased our fees $50,
Yes,
$50 a month per township for all the members, and
the
they did,
partners.
they did, most of them agreed, we did lose 2 of them, but most of them agreed to the increased cost, but of course, that just balanced us out when we lost the 2 partners, but
How many
Right.
partners do we have
Right.
now that need to be notified?
I think there's 5, I wanna say there's 6 in there with us.
Okay,
There were 9, lost 3, makes 6 minus us is 5. Other
That's right,
partners.
yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, and they've already been notified,
okay.
because we were going to close it in June and then we extended it.
Mhm.
So their notice that they have right now is that we have agreed to keep the dog pound open until April 30th. So we can't close it before April 30th because our agreement with them is that we would keep it until then. And then if, I will be notifying them, because what they're waiting for is it really closing in April or are we? So that's why I didn't want to
Yeah.
leave this discussion to April,
Mhm.
because that doesn't give our
No, no,
partners
no.
any time to try and find other arrangements.
I think we better, when we do close, we better put a big sign up there. Don't leave a dog here that somebody thinks is still open and they get a stray dog and they tie the thing there and we don't know.
Or take the sign down.
Yeah.
Just take the sign down. That's there, right?
Good point.
With yellow tape around it.
Crime scene.
Well, that or you just extend the gate out.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Yes,
Um,
yeah, I think people do drop them off. Like
They
that.
haven't for a long time, but then, COVID's just kind of messes everything up.
Yeah.
So, who knows where we're headed back to.
okay. Establish next meeting, March 21st. Media session, did we already had that with Debbie? No closed sessions. Perfect. Could I have an adjournment for the meeting, please?
Sure.
Mayor Murphy, Murph, all those in favor? Perfect. Thank you very much.
There we go.